you had a successful career at NYU as the Director of Custom Executive Education for the Stern School and in the Executive Academic Director position at the Berlin School. In your graduation speech to the Berlin School's graduating class of 2009, you highlighted the importance of understanding the world around us, and you've done that so eloquently here as well.
Where did you watch that speech?
I hired an investigative reporter, and boy did she dig, Doug. She dug, Doug. We learned that this audience was full of executives, and there's no doubt that this was important for undergraduate students as well. So what are your thoughts on the process through which students should go about understanding the world around them? We really push and preach that here, but what are your thoughts on the process of how students should go through gaining an understanding about the world?
I mean, obviously the process is quite different for undergraduates, graduate students, and executives, and so I speak mostly to the undergraduate case given the audience here, but I actually think that we have to strike a very good balance here because we want to deliver an outstanding undergraduate education in the business functional areas, but I think probably the most important thing to do first is take as many classes outside of the business school as possible, which I should not say, Larry, sorry. but you know, I actually believe our job, especially when we're in a professional school for undergraduates, is to make sure that you are getting a great business education that is married with as much exposure to. I mean, I actually think a college education is a very, very special moment in time in people. You'll never have this time again when you don't feel like the pressure of the job or the career or what am I going to do next. And so I remember at Chicago, some of my favorite classes. I mean, Chicago's, I think, probably the highest core requirement area of probably any school. And you have to take, I had to take a music theory class, and I had to take, I don't know, there were all these classes I had to take that I was like, at the time, why am I in these classes? But I actually just think that that's the beauty of liberal arts education. And so the thing that we run a risk of in professional schools is when we narrow the field, with good reason, because I think it helps people be channeled into the labor markets and helps people with getting jobs, we cut back on what the breadth of that liberal arts education can be. So I'm a big advocate of great books, I'm a big advocate of philosophy classes, I'm a big advocate of music classes, international studies, anything that really kind of gives you a broader sense of the world. And so that's probably the first thing. The second thing that's crucial, obviously, you can tell from my CV and the questions you're asking, but also just in terms of how my entire career has been organized, is that I think you cannot do enough of understanding the international world, especially in today's global economy. There's just, and the big problem there is survey courses don't get you very much in that area. So the second thing that I usually advise people on is you can't do everything. So despite the fact you want breadth in liberal arts education, you should pick an area of the world and learn as much about it as possible. It can be for strategic reasons like I had, or it can be for reasons of passion and love and interest or whatever you want. Maybe it's just a place you want to go and spend time. But the more that you can capture knowledge about a deep understanding of how the world works in some place that's other than here, I think is a crucial part of education. And then the third thing, again, it comes from my own interests and career, but I'm a big believer in the notion of complexity. I think that markets, economic systems, political systems are all inherently complex places, and so embracing the idea that the world is an incredibly complex system, and the ability to actually navigate that world really depends on having a deep understanding and appreciation for that complexity, and also not just to throw your hands up at the complexity, but to have a deep understanding of how that complexity and how a deep understanding of it provides opportunity. I think those are probably the three things that I think